Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, students. So our today's topic is what is trigonometry and trigonometric ratios. So actually trigonometric is the study of triangle measurement. Now, there are 6 trigonometric functions that are core of trigonometry, and there are 3 primary ones that we need to understand first, and those 3 are sine, cosine, and tangent. This is the full form, and the abbreviated form is SIN. For cosine is COS. For tangent is TAN. If you notice, the first 3 letters of the trig functions are the abbreviations for these primary functions. The other 3 functions are actually derived from these 3 primary functions, and those are secant, cosecant, and cotangent. Today we are just going to focus on sine, cosine, and tangent, inshallah. So consider the right triangle ABC. It has a 90-degree angle here at angle C, and these angle A and angle B are the 2 acute angles. For each acute angle in the right triangle has 6 trigonometric functions. For angle A, it has 6 trigonometric functions. Today we are going to just learn about 3. For angle B, there are 6 trigonometric functions. Today we are just going to focus on sine, cosine, and tangent. Each function is the ratio of 2 sides of a triangle. The only difference between the 6 trig function is which pair of sides do we take in consideration. For example, sine is a special trigonometric function which takes the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse. Cosine is the special trig function which takes the ratio of the side which is adjacent to that angle to the hypotenuse, the ratio of 2 sides. And tangent is the special ratio which takes the ratio of the side which is opposite to that angle to the adjacent to that angle. So if I want to take the ratio sine of A, we are just going to write the abbreviated form sine. We do not read it as sin, we call it as sine. Sine A as sine is the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse. So taking angle A into consideration, this angle A, the side opposite to angle A is this. Okay? And it's the ratio of this side opposite to the angle and the hypotenuse. We know the hypotenuse is always the side opposite to 90 degrees, this. So sine of A would be opposite over hypotenuse, which is A over C. Cosine is the ratio of the leg adjacent to the angle. Now, if I'm going to take the cosine of angle A, meaning cos of A, it is the ratio of the side adjacent to the hypotenuse. So for angle A, the side adjacent, we know this is the hypotenuse always. This will never change. This is hypotenuse. The side adjacent to angle A is this. Okay? Cosine is the ratio of the side adjacent to the angle and the hypotenuse. So I'm going to, for cosine, it would be the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. So it would be, cosine of A would be B over C. Let's come to the tangent, the third trig function. It's the ratio of the leg opposite to the angle to the leg adjacent to the angle. Okay, so it consists of opposite over adjacent. So tangent of angle A would be, tan of angle A would be opposite So what is the side opposite to this? A. And what is the side adjacent to this? Is this B. So the tangent A would be side A over B. Okay. Now let's go back to angle B. For angle B, the side, if I want to find sine of angle B, sine B. Sine is the ratio of opposite to hypotenuse. So because we are taking angle B, we have to keep in consideration angle B. This is angle B. And the side opposite to angle B is this one. This is the side which is opposite to angle B. To hypotenuse. Hypotenuse stays the same. First we figure out where the hypotenuse, and the other two sides will eventually find out. So opposite over hypotenuse is sine of angle B, which is B over C. Now cosine of angle B, you can see cos angle B. Cos of angle B is adjacent to hypotenuse. Cos of angle B is adjacent to hypotenuse. Now what is the side adjacent to angle B? This is the side adjacent, which is next to angle B. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent is A and hypotenuse is C. So cos of B is A over C. And tangent of B is opposite side to the adjacent side. So the opposite is this and adjacent is this, which will be B over A. Now to remember these special ratios of these trig functions, we have to memorize, we have to know this term. So, ka, to. Now this will help you to know all those 6 trig functions, because this S represents the sine, O represents the opposite, so this is, you write in this form, opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so means sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse, the ratio of opposite to the hypotenuse. Ka means cosine, C represents to cos, A represents to the ratio of adjacent to the hypotenuse. And the third one is TOA. T represents tangent. Tangent is the ratio of opposite. This comes first, opposite, the side opposite to the side adjacent. Once you know the SOHCAHTOA, TOA, you can do all the trig functions. Let's do the example. Slowly and gradually. Give each trigonometric ratio as a function in simplest form. So they're asking you to find the ratio of sine A. Now they are using the side lengths instead of the letters A, B, C. So we know that sine A is, we have to take angle A into consideration, and sine of an acute angle is opposite over hypotenuse. So before we move on, we know that this is hypotenuse, because this side is opposite to 90 degrees. Okay, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Now we have to find sine of A. So the side which is opposite to angle A is this. Okay, so the ratio of this to the hypotenuse. So sine A would be 5 over 13. Reduce it, but we can't reduce it. Okay. Let's do cosine of A. Cosine means cosine adjacent over hypotenuse. So for cosine of A, make sure you take this into consideration. We are not taking cosine of C, we are taking cosine of A. So for cosine of A, we need to find adjacent, the ratio of adjacent to hypotenuse. So the adjacent, the leg which is adjacent to this angle is this, because this is the hypotenuse. We can't name this as leg. The leg which is adjacent means next to the angle, is this. So adjacent over hypotenuse, so the ratio is 12 over 13. So cosine of A would be 12 over 13. And now let's find tangent of angle A, because it asks you to find tangent of angle A. For tangent to opposite to adjacent. So for tangent of angle A, keeping angle A into consideration, opposite is 5 and adjacent is 12. The side opposite to angle A is 5 and the side adjacent to angle A is this. So we have to take the ratio of opposite over hypotenuse, which is 5 over 12. Okay. The same we have to do for sine C, cosine C, and tangent C. Sine C, cos C, tangent. We do not call it sin, we call it sine. Short form can be called as cos, tan, but this is called as sine. Sine, cos, tan. Okay. Now this is sine of C. We have to take angle C. This is angle C, the capital, the uppercase angle. The trig function is next to an angle. Sine of angle C. So we have to take this into consideration. Now this angle into consideration. So the two legs are changed. This stays same hypotenuse. These two, the names change. So the side opposite to angle C is called the opposite, and the side next to angle C would be adjacent. So sine C, sine function is the ratio of opposite to hypotenuse. So first of all, opposite to this is 12 and hypotenuse is this. So the ratio of sine C is 12 over 13. Yep. And then cosine of C would be adjacent over hypotenuse, which is for angle C, adjacent is 5 over hypotenuse, which is 13. 5 over 13. Make sure you memorize this SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA, which will help you memorize or do all these functions very easily. Okay, for tangent C, taking angle C into consideration, tangent has opposite over adjacent, the ratio of opposite to adjacent. So opposite to this is 12 and adjacent to this is 5. So tangent of angle C is 12 over 5. We have to reduce it if we can, but we can reduce this. So these are the trig ratios. Let's do question number 3. I think we can do question number 2 and then 3 can be done for your practice. Now in this case, they ask you to find the trig ratios for W and X as Y is 90 degrees. We know we can find the hypotenuse. They did not give us the hypotenuse. Using the Pythagoras theorem, we can find the hypotenuse as we know the square of the sum of the these two legs. So I can find this by, I can do 9 squared plus 12 squared equals to the side opposite to, let's name it as lowercase y. Let's name it as hypotenuse. So 9 squared is 89 times 9 is 81. And 12 squared is 144. So 144 will be equal to the 81 plus 144 is let's do the math. 81 plus 144 is 225, and the square root of 225 is 50. When we take the square root, find the hypotenuse, we get the hypotenuse as 15. So this is 15 because they didn't give us the third side. We can find the third side using the Pythagoras theorem. Now let's find sine of W. You have to use the same method. Sine of W would be taking W into consideration, angle W. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. The side opposite to W is 12 and hypotenuse is 15. So sine of W would be 12 over 15. Make sure you reduce it. In the simplest form it says 12 over 15 would be 4 over 5. Take in the simplest form, and then cosine of W is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is, this is the sine adjacent to angle W, 9 over 15. So it is 3 over 5. And the last one is tangent W. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, 12 over 9. So it would be 12 over 9, which is 4 over 3. I hope you understand the topic, the trigonometric ratios. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.